Today is the second part. Yesterday was like a experimental talk somehow, because never gave this talk, and today is the second part, and it's the same. So the idea would be trying to think a little bit about the systems and the consequences to understand how we can make something work as a whole. On the other side, I will try to deconstruct a small company or a company with qualitative elements. Okay, so maybe it can be useful for your prototypes and for creating your ideas. No, and let me see if it works. So as you remember, we were talking about how can we create. In the end, we're living in circles. No, this is a circle. The city is a circle. The country is a circle. What we do is everything that we do is impacting in future generations and the people we are sharing the planet with. No? So the idea is, how can we combine this? Because we said yesterday that it used to be very easy, because this was the only focus. No? You have to follow some rules, but in the end, the focus was profit. So it was very easy. So everybody was competing for their own profit, and for me, it would be easier life if money was my first criteria for success. Unfortunately, it's not. And I say unfortunately because it makes things much difficult. No? Because you have to balance what is quality of life, quality of family life, your hobbies, your unuseful aspirations. No? They are not making anything that makes you grow as a business person. No? And you are working a lot with people that only think in business. So that makes it difficult. No? When you have only one metric, it's very easy. When you have many metrics in life and you are a complex being, it's quite about balancing. No? So yesterday we were talking about system archetypes, no? And we're talking about what is a system, no? And we're talking about emergence. How can you mix a lot of people, cells, animals, whatever, or an ecosystem? Something emerges that is bigger than the sum of its parts. No? And this is what it makes a team, a family, a family. This is the third thing that we saw in this poem of D.H. Lawrence. No? So these are more or less the system archetypes. It depends who you read. You can have other differences, so, but more or less they have the same dynamics. No? And then an interesting thing about the system is that in the end they are all interconnected. You can have in the same place, you can have different archetypes working together. So that's what makes everything complex. No? This is what makes society complex. No? The people are talking a lot about their companies that only think in costs. If you get close to these companies that only think in costs, you have a problem, because you have to reduce your costs. So it's like a domino effect. No? And you have companies that work in value, you have a total different set of clients in the same country, buying for different reasons. So that makes it very difficult to understand how to position yourself. No? So in the end, if you have a good brand and you have a purpose, it's what attracts most of the collaborators, employees, customers, whatever. No? So it's trying to understand how can we create something and what components can we use to create this value proposition that is different. No? I hope it's useful. But the idea, we were talking yesterday about escalation. This is what happens. Everybody's like competing, and then you have more tension. And we were talking yesterday that this guy is an expert in escalation. No? It's all the time, I'm going to crush North Korea, I'm going to crush China. So it's all the time creating tensions, and when everything seems that it's going to break, suddenly he releases the pressure. No? So it's an expert in escalation, no? Politically, against Hillary Clinton, whatever. And the problem with this guy and these ways of doing things is that in the end you create a lot of tension and you end up polarizing. So this is the problem, and we're seeing in many politicians now. Right? The politics for many people is about polarizing, about escalating, so there is no debate. No? And this is what happens with, obviously, what we were seeing about. This is the stream wars. They're coming. They're competing on content, but interesting thing also are the telcos. They were competing on price because they didn't have anything. And now telcos are trying to enter into this space. No? They're investing. You have in Spain Movistar TV, which was Canal Plus, and they bought it, and now they have content. So they are not billing only for data and connectivity, which is a commodity. They are billing you for an experience. No? So this is the future escalation that we're seeing is this one. You have another escalation when you have a lot of startups at the same time. It's like in the market, what you have is like an explosion with a lot of startups and then contraction, explosion, contraction. No? You have the dot-com bubble, Then you have the 2.0 web startups, and now you have all the digital and this innovation and these all things related to artificial intelligence, whatever. And we'll have another about sustainability now, is the next one. All the people are thinking about purpose, so I think we can expect a kind of a bubble and a lot of people trying to show that their purpose is better than the others. This is the next competition. No? The competition used to be the body, the brain, and now is the soul. No? This is more or less the things that I'm seeing. So when we talk about another archetype, fixes that fail, is when you make a fix, a short fix in something, and it fails. No, it's like a thinking in. It's a stitch in time saves 9. No, it's the the saying in how to say it, a stitch in time saves 9 stitches. It's like when you do something in the right moment, you can solve problems. No, so this is what many companies are doing in the case of digital. Now, purpose could be one of fixes that fail. Hey, what do we have? We have a platform, we have customers, we have a brand. Hey, we don't have a purpose. Let's put a purpose. So if you are not doing authentically and understanding the consequences of this, what you end up is having more problems. No? So this is what happens when you put, for instance, a technological product on your company without understanding what is the problem with the people. So, for instance, it's very typical in big companies putting Salesforce. You know Salesforce? Do you know Salesforce? Yeah. So you put Salesforce, and theoretically you are a digital company and you are customer-oriented. It's not. If you don't have a process of understanding the customers, of understanding the company, the culture, the products, and how can you reach these people, Salesforce is only a technology. So you need to put something. It would be a fix that failed. And it's happening in many companies. They started playing the digital game, and they are failing because the culture is not ready for this technology. The people are scared, they're not sharing because they're protecting their jobs. No? So many of these ways of thinking about putting a quick fix in something, they are creating unintended consequences. No? They're not working at all. So this is one of the main problems that we see in digital, that many companies didn't get the returns that were promised in the wave. No? So it's quite interesting. Another one is, since most of you are young, put a millennial and see what he does. No? Electricity for millennials, banking for millennials, it's a quick fix. It's not understanding anything. No? So these are the typical things that you can see in many companies. So you are starting to do a lot of quick fixes, and then since you don't understand the problem and you don't have a real change, a real commitment, in the end you end up having more problems. No? So traffic is the typical one. You put more roads, you have more cars. And the people say, okay, let's punish drivers. That's not the problem. If you are punishing the drivers, most of these people, I doubt a lot that they want to be in this car. They are using it because you are not asking why. Maybe they don't need to work, go and work at home. They can work at home because I have a computer, I can work from Vienna and my company is in Madrid. So why are these people moving? Why are you not thinking about that and work on that? No? Other thing is, for instance, in my case in Madrid, if I go walking and by public transportation to the school of my children, it's 1 hour. Walking and public transportation in a car is 10 minutes. No? So the problem is not the car. The problem is different. And also, most of the people here, they want their personal bubble. Because if I go in the metro, I can read. It's not. In the case of Madrid, it's not, because you are like this. So it's 1 hour, like, you know. So if you don't understand the whole of the system, you're putting fixes that fail. So the car is a consequence. All of this is a consequence of a well-intended consequence, which is the right to move through the city for the people. No? Another one is success to the successful. No? This is the typical winner-takes-all dynamic. No? It happens when you have budgets. You have 2 products, you invest in one, the one starts to win, the other one starts to get dry and die, and then you underinvest. And maybe this is a good opportunity, but when you think about the scale, this is what many people are doing. It's like a sort of escalation, but in a different way. No? And this is the typical guy. No? He started slowly, but little by little he's getting traction and more traction and more traction. And for me, he's becoming something like this. For me, this guy is the new Darth Vader. He wants the total domination of the world. No? So I think it's very interesting to see all these dynamics, how they develop. And also they are happening in companies. When you look, and this is why many people in competitive markets and in competitive organizations, they try to look very successful. They try to look very positive. They are not able to show weaknesses, because if not, they don't get this traction. No? This guy is very successful, and maybe the numbers. So this is why many people are making up numbers, making up and doing tricks in the organizations, and many brands are doing that. But this guy is real, and he has a very, for me, a clear purpose. It's the customer. So it's not about changing the world or what. No, it's the best experience for the customers and the best price. That's all. And the consequences of this, unintended consequences of having this type of companies, you know what they are. Employees are working for the cheaper price. Logistics are very streamlined and automated. You have the small stores in the neighborhoods dying because people are used to buy through Amazon, because it's very convenient. So these are the consequences of this type of winner takes all. No? Facebook the same, Google the same. All the big tech are something like this. They are killing each other, and this is why many people are talking about tearing down to pieces to avoid the monopoly competition, no? Because they are killing innovation. They buy everything, so they kill everything. So this is when you have a very big player in an ecosystem. Normally, it used to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and that makes a lot of problems. No? So shifting the burden addiction is this very typical thing also, which is when you have a short-term fix. This is, for instance, when you want to lose weight, you can stop eating by yourself, but if you don't change your habits, you will get fat again, and maybe fatter. In my case, the ones that remember me from the first incubator, I was 20 kilos fatter. And I got to change my habits. It wasn't about, okay, I won't eat during this week. What was is changing the relationship with the food. That was the only trick. Now these days it's a disaster, but the idea is, how can you change the relationship with the food? How can you understand the problem and not focus on the symptom? Well, this is what happens. As a joke, I say that the people, when they get married, they should get fat and ugly for the picture. And then, wow, the marriage is good for you. Look at, you know?
When you find a girlfriend, you get fit. And when you find a girlfriend...
Exactly. The idea is doing the opposite. Yeah. Starting bad, and then everything is improving, no? So you see these two fat guys getting married, like, and then suddenly 10 years after, they're like, wow, it was good having you as a partner, no, in life, no? So this is a strategy. And also this type of system, it creates addiction. This is a quick fix, could be this one. Okay, I'm tired, I'll take a coffee. So and then you have caffeine crashes all the time, you don't sleep, so you get, you know. Another one that I say that was similar is Tinder. Oh, I'm breaking up, I need to show myself that I'm still in the market, you know. So you start getting a little bit of chaos, no? You start doing a lot of different things. You don't get any, you're working in the symptom and not in the solution, no? So caffeine is one thing. Maybe you are not sleeping well. Maybe your habits are not right. And this is happening also with companies. They are changing the symptoms, but they are not working in what is to happen with the culture. The product is crap. So if the product is crap, you have to make marketing that is a lot of makeup. It's lipstick on a pig. And you have to compete on price. And if you are not good at creating relationships, you are killing yourself. You are in a race to the bottom. So more or less, this is what happens, no? And also, consulting the model is that. Consulting creates addiction in the companies. For instance, when you have people internally, there are a lot of products. It's like when you sell the razor for shaving. You sell or the printer, the cartridges are part of the addiction. You buy the thing, but you need to renovate all the time. So you're working all the time in different things. So the model of addiction or changing things is this one. No? Drifting goals is very typical. And this, for instance, when you enter in a team, or an organization, and the people are so demotivated, they feel everything is very complex, you know how this is, you know, we are a complex company, so you start lowering your standards. And suddenly you become one of the people that you don't want to be. So you get depressed, and the company has low standards, so it's very difficult when you see this situation. You need to manage people so they don't get lowering the goals. And this is very typical, for instance, as I said, in companies. when you have the people like, how is work? It's fine, I get out at 5 o'clock. No, how is work? That's what you get out of work. No, and how is work? No? So the people, in many cases, no, I'm here, I'm going to the client, I'm working there, and not doing anything. For some people, that's a success.
It's the company that I'm working for 1 year.
When you use the structure, most people end up like this.
Yeah. Exactly.
Attention or any serious task, and you end up having people hanging around, looking at each other, saying, "Okay, what do we do now?"
Exactly. So the idea is ask why. The people here are very boring. This is why. And then you see in another company is the same. It's not about one concrete company. It's about how do you create a culture. No, and the culture in many companies, in very hierarchical, when you don't feel that you own the work, that you don't know what you're doing even. So you get demotivated and you get in situations like this. No? And this is another one. For instance, in Madrid, this is the pollution in Madrid. This is the air pollution stations. What they did, since they couldn't reach the European Community goals, they moved the stations to places where. Okay. Exactly.
Typical Spanish.
Huh?
Typical Spanish.
Typical Spanish. Like, well, exactly. So the problem is even bigger, but they are reporting a lot of things. No? So this happens. No? Many people saying that, hey, I talk with this client. Let's put it as an opportunity. How much? 1 million. Hey, you have only you say hi in the airport. You know? So there are people making up the numbers in many companies. And you have the people when you talk about Enron. Enron is only a joke, comparing it with many organizations how they are reporting things. No, because they are not measuring the right things. No? So the idea is, I think they are too big sometimes, and they count with these inefficiencies. No? But we have to rethink also how can we work so it's more enjoyable. No? By the way, Kafka was one of these guys. You know, Kafka working generally in Prague, an insurance company, and who was doing, he didn't last for too long. Okay, so. What he did was the procedures of the insurance, because insurance is about risk and procedure all the time. So he was writing that. And after that, he wrote the castle and all these Kafkian things. So insurance has a little bit, he was the coder of the processes. It's like an algorithm, artificial intelligence. Kafka was one of the guys doing that. No? And then the castle is about bureaucracy. It's like a very, very dark novel. No? But the guy was one of these guys. Also, it's very interesting when you see this. If you think in a system level, this can bring a lot of creativity. Pedro Almodóvar used to work in Telefónica, doing a job, this type of job. You have a lot of writers and intellectuals having this to pay their life, at the same time projecting their creativity and their energy in other places. So we are brilliant. Or they are great parents. You know, so it's not bad. We have to try to understand, okay, during this moment in life, I'm going to have a job this way because I have my living is covered. But also, I will try to do another thing. The problem is when you get home and because you're very tired.
Exactly the same. I'm getting a really good salary from a company and I'm invested money.
It's being recorded. Be careful. Then you distort everything. Yeah, so you know, it's about systems. It's not linear. If I get this money, then I get that. No, and the people maybe they are not doing this for the money because they have time to do other things that they feel more fulfilled. No.
But the funny thing is that my boss knows that and he likes it.
Well, it's okay. That's great. It's a value proposition. It's a value proposition. He can attract people with the same purpose. No? That's the point. No? So, and this is about when you grow and under investment. This is another type of you invest and the things is not working very well. For instance, you put the Salesforce thing, the people are not using, so you start growing, but at the same time you stop investing because it's not working. It's not working, and then you invest in another different thing, and little by little you are just. So in the end, many of these systems are very similar. No? If you think about fixes that fail, escalation, and this, many of them are very similar. No? And this is another one. This is I don't have the blue one because I was looking for it, but it got lost. This is limits to success. This is when a company, for instance, it happened in a big client in Spain. We, as a technology consulting company, we contracted a startup for doing RPA. You know RPA, the robot process automation? No, it's about doing like automatic process with artificial intelligence to create ideas. So the idea was in the call center, the people used to have to browse a lot of information when they were talking with a client. So they didn't have the right information when they were talking. The contracting was very slow. So we created like artificial intelligence, high performance process that it was all the time working with information and putting the information in the right agent, so he could serve the client in a better way. No, the problem is that we partnered with a great startup with a great purpose, but the problem they didn't scale. And we're talking about millions of calls to a call center. So the startup crashed. They had a limit to success. It happens with many companies. When you die of success, no, I'm so successful that I'm dying. No, you are not able to manage success. And one example, an interesting example was with Elon Musk in Tesla. He tried to automate everything for the Tesla 3, and it didn't work. You know that a little toddler is smarter than artificial intelligence because he's very good at recognizing patterns. So the people are very good at recognizing patterns and doing these small things in a factory, and the robots no. So what they had to do is descale all the automation and put the people back in the system. No? And the tragedy of the commons is the typical one. It's when you have something that is public and then you start exploiting it in a selfish way. And you need regulation to solve this. This is, for instance, pollution, forests. For instance, you have anything that is free, normally the people start to take advantage of it. No? The food here, some of us maybe we are doing that, eating everything without getting acknowledged. No? So this is one of the typical things and one of the biggest problems. The tragedy of the commons is the environment at the moment. Because companies were thinking in profit, and they were not taking into account that they were impacting a common thing. No? Society, equality, all these things are part of this tragedy of the commons. No? So how does get it solved? It's normally about regulation, it's about setting standards, social and shared standards, no? and some policies. And in fact, you have this effective, yes. So you have this matrix. You see companies that they are very effective. This is a big company that gets everything, but the people die inside. Very successful, but the people is dying because the people are dying because there are no process, or the people are competing inside. So maybe they can get a lot of results, but at the same time they are not efficient. So they are working a lot more, putting more time than needed. In consulting, it's typical to deliver a PowerPoint of 100 slides. Because you are not efficient and you are not close enough to the client to understand that he needs only 20 slides. No? You're not thinking in terms of outcomes, you're thinking in terms of covering, putting value in quantity. No? So this is very typical in big organizations where there is a lot of competition internally. If they are very effective but not efficient, something is happening here. No? Here, there are companies, obviously. Traditionally, public sector used to be like this, not anymore. They are working in providing better services at the moment. No? This is the companies that are big tech and high performance, startups. They're very effective and very efficient because they don't have resources. They have to, if they want to succeed, they have to administer everything well. So they have less people and more impact. No? And here you have companies that are very efficient and not effective. I can't imagine one. I don't know if you very efficient. That they do all the maybe there are companies that are doing great products, but the people don't get to buy them, for instance. No, they are not relevant. No, so you have these companies that are failing. So I think it's a quite interesting thing because in the end it creates different types of culture. No. So when we talk about a system view of a company, this is more or less a diagram. It's based in some things that we did in Fior, but it's different, it's adapted, okay? So we're going to go piece by piece, okay? So the idea is we have the companies here inside. These are and from here starts the outside part of the company, okay? So these are the customers, the community, the environment, and these are in the community have other stakeholders. No? And here internally, these are the suppliers, the investors, and the environment. Again, environment is for everybody. No? So if we go little by little, when you start something, you have normally a purpose, a brand, a product, and customers. Now this is the basic, no? The basic system. So you have to understand what is the purpose and also your function, no? Because the purpose could be make people fly, sell like Ryanair, but maybe you want to provide something that is much with a higher purpose. So you differentiate on an emotional level, no? So when you think about the relevance, how it's relevant for the market and for the customers in this moment, in this market, no? So you have who are your customers, what are their needs and motivations, how can you reach them? Because if you're not able of reach these customers, you are here. You are very efficient, but you are not effective in sales because the people are not seeing what is your work, no? What is your purpose? Is it authentic? How is relevant to the people? Many of the purposes that I read there are totally naive, no? And authenticity could be, as we said yesterday, I want to make money, that's my purpose. It's okay with you? I won't kill anyone, I won't kill anyone in the process, but I only want to make money. So for many people, they should say that because people prefer honest and authentic companies, no? And brand, how do you encapsulate all of this into a brand? No? That makes us feel, okay, when I see this brand, I feel the purpose, I feel this product, when I see this product, I see everything I feel it, that there is this value proposition, no? When we enter inside the company, we have like, this is the part that the customers are seeing, and this is the part that the internal part, and you have the suppliers here. Suppliers are the new customer for many companies. Because if you are collaborating, we are working in platforms, you have to give a very, very good value proposition. So the suppliers want to work with you. So normally, the traditional process was about squeezing. You have the procurement areas, and what they did, they get the worst suppliers possible. You commoditized everything, no? And the problem is, it used to be the metric. So now suppliers are part of the system more than ever. It happens in Toyota, in many organizations, it's happening since many years ago. But now it's very important because if not, you are getting out of the market because you need good suppliers and you can co-innovate with them to create something that is bigger than the sum of the parts. And as I say, all these factories and these all conglomerates, they have this situation. But it's changing. The purpose is getting to measure different things, no? So you have on one side, the experience. What do you sell? How do you sell it? And what is the impact on your product in the customer's lives? No? Why should I buy this product or service? How do I communicate this to the market? What stories do I put in the market? And they're consistent and relevant through the channels, through the touch points in the different moments, through time, because you have all these companies now, since they are changing all the time the purpose. Now we are this type of company, now we are this type of company, so they don't have a soul, no? They are changing it every time, no? So, how do you tell the stories? And is your marketing honest? Are you making up things? Or you are being honest? Is your product so good that you are able to communicate? You don't have to make up everything. Other thing, processes. What tools, processes, and platforms are in place to serve employees and customers, the people? No, this part. This is internal, okay? And this is culture. Culture is what how do you feel and live the brand internally? And then people, how do you organize, how do you innovate, and how do you empower, reward, and promote? No? This is how do you deal with the people? If you're not a big machine, you have to make the difference with designing the interactions between people. No? And I can tell a story about one colleague, a friend, who likes basketball here. Not many. Okay. Okay. This is a colleague. He was I used to play with him, but he decided to be a coach, a basketball coach. He started as a junior guy, he learned a lot, and then he started to study computing and creating software for measuring companies' numbers, no? And then, since he was a coach, he did a project to create a system to put the numbers of the teams in the system. So when you have a match, you can see the missed balls, the throws, whatever, no? And then he did that, and he started to sell it. He believed so much in that project that he ended up in the Spanish national team. And in 2004, Spain was champion of the world. And then 2005, 6, Olympic medals, European championship, whatever. He was in Real Madrid. And then after that, he went to Moscow, to the King Kingdom of Moscow, and King Kingdom of Moscow was twice champions of the league and one champion of the European Cup. And it wasn't about numbers. What he said is that if the Gasol brothers don't look at each other inside or outside of the courtyard, the numbers don't appear. So the numbers come from people. Numbers don't come from some. So he was able to. The interesting thing is that they had different national coaches in this process, but he was the common factor and the team. So he created a dynamic. This third element that we were talking yesterday. How can you make these 12 people different than the other 12 that you have in front? How can you make these guys put in trouble people that are playing the NBA? No? So this guy was totally opposite to Moneyball. You know the movie Moneyball? Yeah. This guy was the opposite. The numbers, you don't buy the numbers and then you put the people, you put the people and the numbers come out of that. He's kind of Buddhist. He's for my city. He's a very interesting guy. So this is the important thing, and the purpose, the culture. What he does is articulates all of this. It's a company that it feels different. When you enter in the company, you feel that it's thriving. In other companies, you feel that they are surviving. In other companies, you feel that they are sleeping. No? So this third element, this culture, is leadership in the end. No? And these are examples of products and services that are coming out from the market. They have some purpose. This is meat. This is the new. This is an interesting. It's called Notco. It's a company from Chile, and they have an investment of 30 million euros from Amazon. And they design products that are organic with artificial intelligence. So different tastes, different. So it's interesting, no? So you have these burgers, no?
Beyond meat.
No, this is not Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat this is real meat, but they are grown in a petri dish.
Okay.
So you have the waste for other company, which is organic waste, is being treated, and then they are feeding these petri dishes, and you have real meat growing, but there is not a soul in this. You're not killing anyone, no? So it's very interesting, and I don't know if it will have any unintended consequence buying something that wasn't alive before, no? Or this type of thing. I don't know what. Okay.
What's the one on the upper left?
This one is corn. This is a new company. You have like you normally try to understand what you were eating, so you have all these components of food. No, now you're having the CO2. What is as a criteria to buy or not buy? These companies are trying to sell as a value proposition their impact. It's not about putting the recycling diagram. It's about this is we're tracing all the impact in the supply chain, and this is our carbon footprint. No, and the other one that I'm sure that is coming is the artificial intelligence algorithms. How is your data being processed through this to audit that the system that is processing your data is being fair with you? No, so a lot of people are auditing now algorithms. So understanding what you are consuming, understanding the technology that is processing how the employees are treated, all these things are getting more and more and more important. No?
In case of Casper, that recycled bottle they came up with
The paper. Yeah.
paper, have they implemented it massively?
No, not yet. A lot of these things.
Are they planning to? Do you have an insight for that?
Supposedly, many companies are trying to scale that. It's very difficult. So you have this. I'm sure that a lot of companies are going to give us a lot of surprise, innovative surprise in the next years about packaging, about products, because there's a lot of people really motivated to change things. No, this could be greenwashing or not. It could be, okay, let's do it. It's another campaign like any other. That could be. That could be. But I think there are many people in organizations feeling that they have to do something with this. And there are a lot of startups with young people, they don't have anything to lose and a lot to win. Because the problem with the big companies, they have a lot to lose and nothing to win. This is how they feel. Let's keep this big machine working. No? So the thing with this is that many companies are authentically trying to change things. And yesterday I shared with you in Slack news from HIM. no? Talking about, hey, let's open our platform. POSCO is an Korean company. They build ships, and they are sharing the know-how with the competitors. Let's make the industry. Let's change the industry. They're not thinking in terms of my own company. I'm thinking in terms of industry, no? So you have, this is the typical, we were talking before about the typical old company. It was, people were standardized, no? It was like a machine, very linear, based on hierarchies. This was the typical, it was about fear, no? If you have fear of your bosses, you have a lot of pressure for results, then you don't innovate because you feel like you are not able to take risks, exactly. You get punished, so innovation is not, you know, it's about, there is a hormone, it's called cortisol. You know cortisol? Yeah. The stress hormone. These machines normally is, or you get sleep, or you get a lot of cortisol. So you don't feel you trust the organization to innovate because the organization doesn't need to innovate at the beginning. That's what they feel. So innovation is different, and it's made by these guys deciding, no, I'm the hypo here, no? I the highest paid person. So this is what I'm deciding that we do this. Make the logo bigger, the typical thing in design, no? So normally it used to be 50-something men. So with a military culture. It was about war. The customers were targets, no? Competition. It was about everything with campaigns. It was like a military, because it was based on the production of armament during the World War, no? All the mass market was using all this system, no? And this is more like another type of company. This is Fjord Berlin, for instance, and they are more working. They are part of a bigger part. Accenture is a technology company, but you have different cultures now. It's not as the traditional consulting organization was these guys working for guys like this. Now you have different people working for different people, so you create an ecosystem that is more interesting, no? So you have these people, but at the same time you have technology people, you have business people working together. The idea is, how do you make this system of different cultures collaborate and not killing each other? No? You have to make them understand that you care about results and money, I care about the process and impact. Okay, how can we think that we're working together on this? Because you're totally different to me. No? So how do you create this culture? No? So you have, for instance, in many companies, you have a lot of young people. Let's see what happens when these people get a mortgage and children, because things usually change. Let's see what happens. But these guys, normally, they are learning, and they have people from startups sharing projects. They're learning all the time. And you keep the people motivated to learn. And what motivates them to learn is about impact. It's not about career. They are motivated by purpose. They feel they have a special connection with their craft. And this is what I think is failing in agencies. Normally people want to be artists or want to create something that is meaningful, but when they see they're selling crappy products, they have a crisis. No? So these people are motivated to find and create new products and services that make a positive impact. No? Then you have people working not in the traditional way. This is e-gamer, e-sports. I think the future of management, there will be some teams we were talking about yesterday that will have something similar to e-sports. Real-time, streaming, business is going to be streaming all the time. So we'll have different interfaces. Do you know Ender's Game, the movie? Similar to that. And you will have people at the same time innovating products and services. You will have data all the time. So it's going to be totally alive. Totally, yeah?
There's another movie that might interest you that's even better than Ender's Game. It's called Uncanny Valley. Have you seen that?
No, I know the concept. But
basically, the VR junkies in the future, the people who actually live in the VR immersive gaming, they don't even know that they're actually killing real people,
exactly.
Robots on some distant planet.
Huh.
But they think it's all a game.
Exactly, yeah.
They think they're just playing a game.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because you can use it as a build. This is when the people talk about gamification. Normally, if you think about how the people used to manage things, it used to be paper, Excel, and now it's being like ERPs. No, you have web interfaces. No, but little by little, these interfaces are not working anymore because you put gamification, and the next will be putting, I don't know, the Vodafone guy is running, and then you have to kill them. Or this is a Vodafone client, okay, targeting. You know.
That's why we use tokens at concerts, so we don't actually realize how much money we're actually spending because you have everything.
Exactly.
On your
Exactly. Life is a game in the end, no? So for me, And then you have the numbers here. So in the end, this is a totally different system, and it can play with this system at the same time. This could be a layer on top of the other system. And when we talk about external stakeholders, you have the suppliers, the supply chain, how you certify. You know Fairphone, this Holland company. They have everything traced to the origin, and also they have the components, so you can understand how is your smartphone built, what are the components, and where do they come from. So they have the supply chain is thinking in terms of wellness, well-being, fairness, and sustainability. No?
Are they considered to be a conscious business then?
Fairphone,
Yeah.
it was born like that. I think in the Netherlands there are happening a lot of things related to circular economy. It's a small country, very innovative, very creative, and they are under the level of the sea. No? So they are doing a lot of things. There is a university there doing a lot of agricultural innovation and rewilding the country, no? And they're trying to do clean industries. The meat that was grown in a pretty dish is from Netherlands, for instance. So yeah. So you have another thing is well-being. For instance, if you work as a consultant, has anybody worked in a client? Living in a client as an external? Anyone here? No. It's quite interesting. You are only external, so you feel like you are not in your company, you are not in the. But there are companies that are very good with the people that they have internally. So they invite you to the Christmas dinner, they give you presents, so they give you parking, for instance. So it's different, no? But when you are a supplier, you have to pay them and help them to innovate. When you go through procurement, you are only a thing, a resource, no? Then community, how are you being part of the social life? Investors, there's one problem. You have to be very careful who are you taking the money from. No? Yeah, and also the other guy wants to know who are you to give you my money. So you have to create this shared vision and shared purpose. No? Alignment, purpose, and investment, protecting the mission, and you have now the activist investors. In Unilever, when they had these purpose brands, they were activist investors fighting out Paul Polman, the CEO. You have a new one, the company is still sustainable, and they are thinking about sustainability and purpose, but they were activist investors trying to generate more money because they thought that this way of doing business is less profitable. No? Also, it happened with Whole Foods. Whole Foods, they were approached by activists, and they were trying to fire most of the board of the company, because they were thinking that, hey, if I invest here and I change the way of this company is managed, I can get a lot of money. So what they did is they approached Amazon. Okay, let's go with the big guy and let's see if they can invest, and we can keep on doing our business without all this pressure from people that only care about the money. No? So this is what they did. No? And finally, protect and minimize and also generate the environment. No? So you have here suppliers, customers, community, environment, the investors, and then I forgot to tell, this is the value proposition for the market, the business model, and the operating model. How do you articulate these three things? It's very important, no? So this is the, let me see here. Okay, so value proposition is what the customers see, and you create it here with the brand and the purpose. The business model is how you make money between what you provide to the market and how you operate, what is the margin. And then here is the operating model. How do you make this happen? No? So this is more or less the architecture of the business. As I said, I'm trying to make it very, very, very simple, okay? And this is companies with thinking in purpose, no? And most of them, they are finding or getting back to purpose because they grow so much and they lost it, no? But for instance, this is Apple and the problems that they had with privacy, not giving to the CIA the data to investigate some customers, because it was part of the purpose. So they were getting in risk with the government, no? This is very difficult. It's not about being good or bad. It's about how you manage political situations, no? So every time can change, but you have to be kind of consistent, no? This is the Spain Accenture people. And this is all this trend of diversity, no? And I didn't know that Accenture was one of the most diverse companies in the world. For me, it was a macho company, but it's not. And now it has a lot of visibility, and also it's putting at risk this because in some countries that they have problems with gay rights and things like that, Accenture is operating anyway, and they are not hiding this situation, no? So companies are starting to risk the business to reach a higher purpose, no? And then you have IKEA, they're doing a lot of things relating to sustainability, no? When you talk about the operation, this is, for instance, Google. They started to use artificial intelligence to manage the data centers, and they are saving 40% of energy. At the same time, this is with artificial intelligence models. You know that artificial intelligence generates a lot of carbon footprint, no? Training any model, any Netflix request, YouTube, training any model is a lot of carbon footprint. But anyway, they're trying to find mixing, being more efficient with new sources of energy to make it, in the end, make a transition, no? So there's a lot of people, as I said, working in different levels of the economy to make a transition, and there are other people that are trying to protect the old economy, no? So this is why we have all these tensions. Okay, and these are the components again, and the reality is this. This is the reality. You have a lot of different companies and different industries collaborating together, no? So when the people talk about competitive advantage, for me it's very important also to understand what is the collaborative advantage. There are companies that are very good at collaboration, and collaborating is getting value from the partnerships, because I collaborate a lot, but I'm very bad at collaborating. What do I mean? That I collaborate because I like to collaborate, but sometimes I don't get paid for that. No? So you have other companies that are very good at giving things because they feel like that, helping each other. You know this book, Givers and Takers, from Adam Grant? People that give a lot and people that take a lot. And sometimes the giving people are getting tired and worn out because they are not getting nothing in return, so in the end they die. No? And the taker seems to be very successful. So the thing is that what is happening here is that collaborating and getting value for that is what Google and Facebook, they do very well. Google is giving a lot of services for free, but at the same time they're putting money outside of the typical value chain, no? With advertising, with the different products and platforms. But for you it's free, no? And they are very good at making a lot of money, being one of the biggest companies in the world, and you are having everything for free, or you think, no? So things that are interesting in this perspective. If you think in terms of an industry, what is the purpose of your industry? In food, in fashion, how do you see as an industry? Do you have this sense of we are here, we, the insurance companies, we, the telco companies? Do you have a sense of pride, a sense of purpose as an industry, for instance, that you can share with your competitors, so you grow as a whole industry? The other one is, what are the assumptions or dogmas in your industry? People only care about price, you know, for instance. If you become the Apple of whatever, you have to put, I don't know, you have to put everything digital, and then the company will be competitive, no? And also, who is entering the arena? This is what happens in when the people talk about disruption. How is Amazon getting into technology business? No? Technology business used to be the consulting business. Used to be also the technology business like Salesforce, like Microsoft, and then you have Amazon competing for the Pentagon contract. How is that? It's a bookstore, no? PayPal, for instance. PayPal was a payment system for geeks in eBay, no? And suddenly they started to grow and create new things, and then they started to disrupt payments, and now what they do is they give credit to people because they have the data, so that they can measure the risk in record time because they have all the data of the many companies that are using that. So if you ask for money, you can have the money in hours. You go to a bank, you have to give them a lot of paper, a lot of, they have different models to work, no? So you have a lot of people entering the industry with a different value proposition. What is broken in banking? Okay, let's do a payment system. So you have all this fintech, mostly it's about payments, simplifying paying, making it sexy, making it mobile, making it useful, not something that, if you remember, for instance, how is paying through a phone? You're chatting with one friend. Hey, you owe me 20 euros. Okay, give me your account. and then you open the bank application, then you enter the login and the password. No, fail. No, type again. No, and then what is your account number? Okay, and in different forms. So you have to put for number, and suddenly you put the number, then validate. Okay, get your coordinates card, and then you have the. Okay, tomorrow you will have the money. And these are examples of products and services thinking in the environment. This is Nike, obviously, the Flyknit, and this was talking yesterday. And these are the waste when you have the old products. And also for me, it's interesting how will the aesthetics will look in the future, because we're starting to tolerate drinking in paper, having this type of. I don't know if we're going to look a little bit like I don't know, dystopian or something like that. You don't have the Italian or English look anymore. So they will have like you know, like rucksacks in as a you know, or the type of ties that we will. I don't know. You are seeing in many places that the people don't dress like they used to dress many years ago. We look more sporty, no? But you will have second hand will be the next luxury. I don't know. Maybe fifth hand, no? I wouldn't pay because it's being used and it's totally worn out. I don't know. And these are Staffer. You know Staffer? It's a startup. It's about they do circular models, and they buy. They change your clothes by bushers. So you can change it for other type of clothes. No. Also, H&M is doing. They're getting clothes to recycle.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're closing the circle, the loop. No. These guys, they're closing the loop, at the same time they're creating new products. And this is Helen Kirkun, she's a designer, and she's doing this type of things. No? And this is Timberland. So fashion is interesting to think about how could fashion look like in the future. No? Because for us, for many people, this won't be unacceptable. We look like, in French, it's clochard, no? Like, how do you call vagabundo? Homeless, the homeless look, homeless chick, you know. So I don't know. It could be a trend. Make this sexy, no? Because it's I don't know. But I think it's interesting to think. You think in terms of impact in systems and how is going to be the impact of this type of branding, this type of in marketing, in product, in aesthetics, no? And this is interesting. Retuna is a mall in Sweden, and they call it re-commerce. It's a used goods material. So how can we create the waste of other companies, our product, for instance? No? How can we create waste in wealth? No? And also the repair trend. No? In my case, for instance, I bought a second-hand car, hybrid car. My Mac is second-hand, it's a refurbished. So I'm starting to understand that this works perfectly. I don't need the latest thing. No, I'm repairing my TV because I feel it's the right thing to do, and I don't care about the new things. Obviously, when you sit in marketing, all glossy. Oh, this TV is, you know, when you have when you are approaching to 50, one way of measuring your manhood is about the size of the screen at home. No. So sometimes you feel tempted about, okay, I need a 200 inches screen at home, no? And this is very interesting. Do you know Sebastião Salgado, the photographer? Yeah. Do you know about this? They got this little house, and through many years, they started to rewild the thing. And suddenly, in 15 years, this is 13, they had a forest around. There are a lot of people thinking about rewilding the environment. And this is a case, and many people that are doing this are collaborating because they want to be an example and innovate for the rest of the people. So for instance, if I build a company, I wouldn't build a company, I would build a cause. Because I would like to build an ideal company that is an example, a boilerplate for other companies to flourish. And this is what in Silicon Valley happened. This is when design companies started, marketing agencies happened like this. They started with, I feel like I have an occupational mandate. No, I feel like our profession has a call. It's not about the career, it's about what we do, the process, the craft, connecting with our job and doing something meaningful. no? So the people that are moved by purpose and by this occupational industry mandate, they feel like they are doing something much bigger than the competition, no? So there are a lot of people. This guy, as I said, is a photographer, Sebastião Salgado. Here you have the name, and you can look in Google for this. It's very interesting. Patagonia, the ex-CEO, the founder says that I don't want to be big, which we told about yesterday. We want to show the rest of the people that there is another way of doing things. You have H&M, okay, let's open the platform. You have other companies that are, okay, how can we put our purpose in action at that scale, and also sharing our knowledge? So you have other companies having a big impact. Because the rest, this is a collaborative advantage. How can I be profitable if I'm giving a lot of knowledge we suppose in the old ways is supposed to be part of your competitive advantage? How can you do it for free and make money and be big? Google with data, Google Maps, whatever. So I think it's very interesting to think, because the old way was about squeezing the line, making more efficient, and it was linear. No? Now it's, you can spend a lot of money here and then making money in another different way. So that's the trick, no? Understanding that it's a big system and the money is not linear. If I put some money here, I go through the process here, and then I get this profit here. This is what the typical big company, accounting company, no? These are some very beautiful example, because this is in the Red Sea. There are people from Israel and Arab countries working together in saving the sea. So this is the common purpose. I think it's beautiful, no? When you see people that they have a problem, political problem, but they suddenly they find this higher purpose and they collaborate, no? And they take aside the differences, and this is, okay, the differences are political, but our natural, we have a lot of natural commonalities. So let's work on that. Let's solve that. So this is why I think, for instance, in my case, I don't feel, I was raised in a country, but I don't feel like I'm part of a country, no? Because when I'm with people, I prefer to find something to connect, and this is what I'm giving talks. It's about connecting with different people and learning, no? And when you find this higher purpose, maybe you can find new inspiration. It's not about not sharing and seeing that the only thing that you can do is optimizing and using people and whatever. So for me, it's very important to finding these ideas that make people with differences collaborate, no? As I said yesterday, an alien invasion is the typical thing in movies that makes Russians and Americans collaborate, no? Another thing, the whales are coming back, no? Since it was banned, the global trade of whales. It was a source of, it was like oil. It was the source of meat, of oil. It was the typical petroleum many years ago, but now they are coming back. So we are seeing good things. There is a lot of bad things, but I think we need to find for inspiration, because we know where to find the bad things, no? They're all on the media all around, no? And this is what is making us being scared, anxious, and not collaborating, because we're trying to protect ourselves, because we see that there are not new opportunities there, no? So the idea is, how can we get inspired and to see the good? We know we have a lot of problems, but I think we need to find this way of working, and brands are trying to do that. Some of them authentically, as I said, and other ones out of fear. If we don't have a purpose for tomorrow, we die. But many of them, they still, okay, I will keep my purpose, whatever it takes, no? You have Patagonia and many companies like that. And very interesting thing also in Yellowstone, they hunt out the wolves from the park. You know this case? It's very interesting, no? Well, they hunt out, there were no wolves, so you have a lot of deers, and they started to eat the grass and the trees and everything, so it was like there was anything. So it was a problem. The rivers started to get dirty because there was no trees holding the ground to. So they get muddy with no fishes because they couldn't swim, and suddenly they started to release some packs of wolves, and they started eating the deers, no? And the system started to change. This is a trophic cascade, it's called, no? So suddenly less deers, more vegetation, the birds, more trees. Then the water was clean, then you have the fishes, so the system totally changes, putting wolves in the system, back in the system. And the deer are alive, but they live in the upper part of the mountains. In Asturias, for instance, if you go, it's my homeland, there is a place called the Lakes. It's very beautiful, it looks like Scotland, but everything is grass. Normally they used to have trees, like a Canadian lake. But the problem is that you have the cows grazing. So there is no trees. There's the lake, and there is a lot of grass, and that's all. So the people say it's still beautiful, but I said it should be more beautiful if it didn't have the cows, no? So, closing. We were talking yesterday about systems, and this is this poem, no? We talked yesterday, no? The water is H2O, hydrogen 2 parts, oxygen 1, but there is also one other thing that makes it water, and nobody knows what it is. No, what is the third thing that makes a system, a company, an organization, a team work as a team? Or what makes Apple being a loved brand and many people want to work with a company and not with another? No, Microsoft, for instance, is one of the most valuable companies in the moment. And they changed the culture totally because it was very toxic many years ago. You know the story of Microsoft, right? Microsoft with Steve Ballmer was very, very, very competitive. They enter in the browser wars, they enter in everything. They try to destroy the market, no? And now they're very competitive, but they change the culture internally, no? And there is a book by Satya Nadella, who is the CEO. It's called Refresh, and it's about how they turn the company and the culture to another part. And they wanted to be, they were the geeks, know it all, and they said we want to be a learn it all company. We want to learn. If you don't learn, we're dead. Yesterday, Eugene was talking about if you don't have a castle to burn, a dragon to slay, you are old. No? So this is more or less, if I don't have anything to learn, anything to get inspired by, I'm dead. Because I'm thinking in just optimizing what I have. No? And this is what makes you old, when you lose the energy to do new things. No? And this is all these people, and also the Starbucks thing. Do you know the Starbucks story? Starbucks, they grew a lot. They started to compete, opening a lot of, saturating the market. So suddenly they have different coffee shops competing against each other. And they were thinking about making more money, making it more efficient. So the CEO hired the chief operation officer of Walmart. The Walmart of many years ago, not the Walmart today, because Walmart is totally different now. No? And he made it so efficient and so competitive that the company lost the soul. So he said, in fact, you enter in a coffee shop and it smells like burnt cheese. That's not coffee. No? So it was about how can we make the people rotate faster so we can make more money. So they started to close, and they have like a catharsis. They call one company, it's very interesting what they used to do. I don't know now what they're doing. It's called Sci Partners. Sci Partners, they create a very cathartical consulting thing. So he brought these people, all the operation people, in a room with no lights, big room, and suddenly they started lights, no? And there was with a rope, there was like something hanging and some principles there. So it was like no? So the principles were there, and they have like a experiential tour. It's kind of artistic, kind of transformational, kind of inspirational, to recover the spirit of Starbucks. And then in the end, they ended up creating a manifesto. But it was very spectacular. This is only in big corporations, they have the money to do that, no? But it's very interesting when you do something that is more, not a PowerPoint, but a walk through something, no? It's because it's more, you feel that this is only for you, not typical PowerPoint that you're using for many things, no? So if we think about the third thing, we have to know what is that, no? And if you think as a system, what is the third element that will make your whole system work? And you have to think in all the circles that we saw before, okay? Suppliers, employees, marketing, customers, environment, whatever. That's the difficult part. If you think only in your department, it's very easy. In department, profit, that's all. That's the whole way. And this is the last one. I use always this guy. Someone knows who is this guy? Avedis Donabedian was an engineer, and he was the responsible of the quality systems, quality assurance systems in healthcare. He did a lot of diagrams, a lot of processes to create systems of care, no? And when he was retiring, all the disciples come to him and say, Avedis, what is the secret of quality? And he said, in the end, the secret of quality is love. When you put love in the system, the rest of the things take care of each other. No, so he found out after many years working, doing a lot of systems, that the system is going to work in a good way if they have love in the system. If you care about the people, if you care about your job, if you care about the outcomes. No? So he started to think about the structures of care, processes of care, and outcomes. It wasn't functional. They have a clear third element identified. So this is very interesting when you get with people that are retiring and they are wise people. You ask them, for instance, if you have people that are retiring from your profession and companies, ask them, what would you tell yourself 30 years ago? If you go there and you visit the young Fernando, he was a colleague of mine. He's the first managing director in Spain in Accenture, the youngest one, and he was retiring, and I said, Fernando, what would you tell the youngest managing director in Accenture Spain now? You were, and he said, don't work too much. Take care of your family. Enjoy life. So obviously he has he made a lot of money, obviously, but it's easy to say that sometimes. But I think that many people, when they get finally, they see the patterns, they see the third element. So I think this is why it's very interesting to talk with veterans. Now, what is the third element here? No? What is the third element that you think your competitors make it better than you, or you? What makes sense? No? And we are missing that because we are retiring the people, and they are like, no, you are an old guy, you are not disruptive enough. But there are a lot of people. The patterns are the same. No? So I think it's very interesting to start looking for answers in older generations and in the new generations at the same time. No? And that's all. I think it's, let's say, the end. I don't think you have, no. I don't even have a thank you. Because love is the important thing.